Welcome one and all to the first episode of eDog Reviews for 2014. As such, I feel that it's in good taste to review a game about new beginnings. A game about shaking off the trouble of one's past and starting anew. A game that just so happened to be free on Xbox Live and is totally not the reason that I picked it up. Well, actually, yes it is. Released in August of 2012, this title was supposed to be a continuation of Activision's True Crime series. However, due to the game's high budget and constant delays, it was initially cancelled before getting picked up by Square Enix. It received positive to mixed reviews upon its release and sold almost 2 million copies in its first month alone. So, now that I have an excuse to check out this foray into the seedy underworld of the Triads, what are my thoughts? Well, I think that the Halo series is overrated. Banjo-Kazooie is one of the best games ever made, and... Oh, you mean about this game? Oh, right. Well, let's get right to it. Say hello to Wei Shen. Wei is working as an undercover officer in his home city of Hong Kong after relocating from the States. His goal is to infiltrate the local Triads and take them down from the inside. But it won't be easy. Let's face it never is, as he must fight his way through rival gangs, along with dealing with the dilemmas of maintaining his cover and preventing his personal vendettas from getting in the way. So, do you have the fortitude to pull all of this off? Well, if you don't, I hear Octodad's coming out soon. The gameplay of this title is quite interesting in the fact that while you will be facing various foes, many of which are armed, the combat is mostly done through your kung fu mastery. Along with this, during missions you can raise both your Triad and Cop meters, which will in turn unlock separate upgrade trees. Your Triad meter is raised by being as creative in your brutality towards the gang members as possible, and your Cop meter is raised by showing restraint. Well, restraint towards civilians anyway. The gang members on the other hand can get slapped in the face with a fish for all you care. Looking at the graphics, it is pretty cool to see this lively rendition of Hong Kong, and the map is fairly large. Well, not as large as GTA 5, but hey, it's not the size, it's what you do with it. Or something like that. The character models look fairly decent, but once you get to the cutscenes, you'll notice that their facial expressions do get a bit stiff. This makes the characters look less like they're angry and more like they fell into a vat of Botox. The combat in the respect of your kung fu flows quite well, and there are many cringe-worthy combos to pull off, mostly due to the fact that your enemies are too dumb to attack you at the same time. The gun combat is few and far in between until the later missions, but this is probably a good thing because unlike most games, you can only take about as many rounds as your opponents can before coming down with bullet poisoning. There are quite a few side missions along with races, extortions, and investigations thrown in to make the experience last a little longer, yet even with all of these activities, this game will still be over before you know it. So unless you stereotypically want to see a Chinese man sing karaoke for hours on end, or watch your gun disappear for fun, there really isn't too much longevity here. But you know what I noticed? With the combat setup and overall premise, this game truly does feel like an updated version of the True Crime series with a new storyline, plus updated graphics and combat. So while this game is no longer free, I would still recommend it if you want to take an interesting look at the life of an undercover officer in Hong Kong. So, until we meet again, this is eDog, and I'm gonna let sleeping dogs lie. Did I seriously write that? That was fucking awful. Breaking rocks in the hot sun.